There are all kinds of terrifying things that could be lurking in the woods, but one of the most frightening has to be something that mimics human voices. Imagine you're out hiking and you hear your loved one calling out to you, only there's no one there. Well, it might just be the forest playing tricks on you. Or could there be something more sinister at play? Welcome back. I'm here. And today we're talking about the thing that mimics human voices in the woods. Do you have a story about a time when you heard a voice in the woods? Let me know in the comments below. I was backpacking in the Beartooth Wilderness in the early 2000s with a good friend of mine. This happened when I was in the army during basic training. Startled, we all stopped and looked around for the source of the voice but saw nothing. There was no one else in our group close enough to call out to us and warn us. Plus, we knew the drill. We should have been calling out timber to warn the others if we were close enough to do so. We were out on a training exercise in the middle of the night, and we had to move from one area to another. At this point, I was freaked out, and I started to run to my car. As I'm practically sprinting down the trail, I hear my name being called out. I don't know if it was the adrenaline or what, but at that moment I turned around and started running back up the trail. I started to yell and make tons of noise and the voice stopped. Yeah, rightfully so. Remind me to never go hiking ever again. But then the same voice called out, watch out for the low-hanging branches. Again, just before we came to a relatively open area. As soon as we stepped into the clearing, we were met with the sight of one of our drill sergeants standing there with a big grin on his face. Needless to say, we ran like heck to the next point of our exercise. Yeah, I'm sure you did. Remind me to never join the army ever again. The distance wasn't too far, maybe half a mile, but we were moving through very thick, almost impenetrable brush. When I was in high school, I used to go hiking by myself in the woods near my house. One day I was on a trail that I've been down numerous times and I started to hear what sounded like my name being called out. Obviously, I thought it was strange, but I figured it was just my imagination playing tricks on me, since I had even seen anyone on the trail for hours. 3 days into the hike, we had only seen 2 other couples. Still, I didn't think much of it and continued walking until I heard it again for a 3rd time. By now, it was clear that someone was trying to get my attention. I stopped dead in my tracks and listened. All I could hear was the wind rustling through the trees. I called out, hello, but of course, no one responded. All around the tent were thousands of little pebbles that were not there the evening before. Not a single leaf or twig was disturbed. It was like someone had literally rolled a giant rock across the tent. But the creepiest part, all around the tent in a near-perfect circle were also 20 or so 100 to 300 pound boulders. My friend and I no-peed out of there and have never returned to that area. Yeah, rightfully so. Glad you got out of there, okay? Remind me to never go camping ever again. And if this video helps you get more subscribers, please do share for more great stories. Big guttural screams. Obviously we were freaked out sitting in the tent, not knowing what was out there. Then we started hearing what sounded like hail for about 15 minutes, followed by heavy footsteps near our camp. My friend and I started yelling and making tons of noise, and the commotion outside the tent slowly came to a halt. Our first story comes from Reddit user real name removed. On the 3rd night at around 4 AM, we were awoken in our tent to what sounded like screams in the forest. In the morning, after, of course, not sleeping at all, we unzipped the tent to the creepiest scene. Up next, we have a story from another Reddit user. At one point, while we were moving through this brush, someone yelled out, hey, watch out for the low-hanging branches. We figured it was some kind of joke, perhaps one of the drill sergeants trying to mess with us. Lastly, we have a story from another Reddit user. Then, about 10 minutes later, I heard it again, this time much louder. I started to walk again, but after a few steps, I heard it again. Do you believe in things that mimic human voices in the woods? Let me know in the comments below.